Welcome to a bitterly cold and blustery Donington Park here on the boundaries of three different counties. In one direction we got Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire to the other, and in the distance we can see Leicestershire, and we are here for the penultimate race weekend in the GB3 Championship. I have to say the sun has just come out, but we've been treated to a couple of days of absolutely disastrous weather. There was rain yesterday, high winds still here with the gales being blown around. Some of the drivers loving the bit of wind and some drivers absolutely hating it. I'm Jon Jackson, Piers alongside me, and what better person to talk to about driving in these kind of winds. Did you like this as a driver, Piers?
It's very, very tricky for the drivers when the wind is as high as it is at the moment, and also it's gusty as well, which makes a big difference to these cars with big wings on them. You might think, you know, down the motorway the wind blows the car around a little bit, just times that by about 5, and these drivers are doing over 100 miles an hour through most of the corners. It's a real challenge, even for our camera operator Andy there, who nearly fell over.
I think if they stand in a line they can all kind of have some rigidity together. You mentioned big wings. Obviously we can hear a plane above us now. We're right by an airfield here, and they only put airfields at East Midlands Airport where there is wind, because planes need wind to get lift, and I think they're sort of taking off. Normally you hear them really loudly over the track here, but we can't hear them very loudly because they're getting in the air straight away, which just tells you how windy it is. But the drivers will handle it with some incredible precision, I'm sure. We will see some excellent racing across 3 races here this weekend in the GB3 Championship. We obviously come off the back of Brands Hatch, which threw up some more excellent racing. And let's just remind ourselves before we get into this race weekend of what happened last time.
3 races of action ahead on this iconic circuit. Of course, it's the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit in West Kingsdown in Kent, with all of its history in the world of motorsport. Alex Ninovich would be coming into it as the championship leader by 39 points over Patrick Huizenmoder and Gianmarco Pradel, and a return face in the likes of Freddie Slater, looking to prove himself once again across the rest of the field. However, it was championship leader Alex Ninovich who saw this as an opportunity to prove himself once more by qualifying on pole position ahead of Freddie Slater, and looking to try and dominate the opening race of the weekend. An unfortunate incident for Jack Sherwood would cause the safety car in the opening race of the weekend, while Keanu Alazari was trying to work his way up after a poor qualifying. For Alex Ninovich, our championship leader, it was a 5th victory of 2025, extending his championship lead to a whopping 53 points, with Patrick Huizenmoder only finishing in 4th and Gianmarco Pradel finishing in only 7th. It was a return to the podium though for Freddie Slater in 2nd spot. Also a return to the podium for the 3rd time this season for Deegan Fairclough, and everyone's attention would then turn to the Sunday morning race, which would see the same front 2 rows as in the previous. It was Ninovich from Slater, from Fairclough, from Patrick Huizenmoder, desperate to bounce back after a tricky Saturday race. Ninovich, though, from pole position was once again leading into that first turn, and unfortunately for Keanu Alazari, an incident between himself and Enzo Tarnvanichkul would also see him out of the race. A couple of more dramas behind, and a pretty easy drive for Ninovich to once again take victory and extend that championship lead. We would see the same 2 drivers join him on the podium in Slater and Fairclough, but would we see a three-peat of the podium in race number 3, the all-important reverse grid, with Sherwood starting from pole position? It was Tarnvanichkul with the perfect start to take over the race lead. Unfortunate retirements for the likes of Will McIntyre and championship protagonist Patrick Huizenmoder, but a perfect drive in a difficult race for Enzo Tarnvanichkul, who would cross the line to win round number 18 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, which of course would be his first victory of the season.
Yeah, great weekend back there at Brands Hatch. Some incredible racing there, and a great weekend for several of the drivers. Alex Ninovich, of course, leading the championship. He can win the championship this weekend here at Donington Park, but we'll get on to that if it looks like that's an option. He's on 362 points, with Patrick Huizenmoder for Excel Motorsport behind him on 291 points. Then we've got his teammate Gianmarco Pradel at Roden Motorsport in 3rd on 276, with Deegan Fairclough, the high-tech TGR driver, on 251, with Will McIntyre, the Elite Motorsport driver, on 240 points. He's 5th in the championship, and Will won't be racing this weekend here at Donington Park. You may have seen on social media he announced the other day that he's currently battling with illness and he won't be able to complete the championship this year, but he plans on getting back into racing as quickly as possible. And obviously we send all of our best wishes to Will McIntyre. We know he's around here somewhere and he'll be enjoying the racing from the Elite Motorsport awning, and I know there's a lot of people from around the paddock that want to send their best wishes to him. want to send their well wishes, but it seems like there's an issue with that. But lots of the drivers wanting to pass on their messages to Will. I know that he has been around and a lot of the drivers have seen him and they're giving him the best wishes in person, so that's fantastic to see. We know that his teammate Bianca Bustamante was very passionately huge friends, and she posted on Instagram the other day about the fun they've had this year, and there was a great tribute from Bianca, so great to see that from her. This weekend then, Piers, we have a lot on the line because we can have a championship winner. We're going to talk about whether that's possible in just a second. We've got several new drivers on the grid as well, and of course all the other drivers that are battling it out, because this is the kind of time of year where you're maybe thinking about what you're doing next.
Well, some of the drivers they're concentrating on the remaining rounds, like Alex Ninovich. He's probably got in the back of his mind what he'll do next year, but he'll be very much concentrating on trying to go out there and, if he can, be the first person to win the GB3 Championship with a weekend to go, which is impressive considering it's been such a competitive year. On a difficult weekend, he's put himself in a good position. But yeah, it was also, you're throwing in the mix, as you mentioned, some new drivers, which I'm looking forward to seeing how they got on in the mix of a grid that's very experienced this year.
Yeah, of course we see drivers making their way up from other championships as well as GB4. It makes a lot of sense actually, GB4 being in the same paddock. You can kind of take a look, and a lot of the teams will run GB4 and GB3 cars, making that transition very easy. We've seen Jack Sherwood move up from GB4 to GB3 this year, and a driver that was involved in GB4 a couple of years ago with his dad's team has been to America. He's had some great success over there, and he is back to dip his toe in the water of GB3. He's racing with Fortec this weekend. It's Liam McNeely, who I caught up with earlier. Liam, great to see you back in the paddock here at Donington Park, a track that you've had much experience in, and it must be good to be getting that step up into GB3 after being so close to it when you were driving in GB4.
Yeah, no, good sort of step up this weekend in GB3. Yeah, really enjoying it, being with Fortec. So yeah, we'll see how we get on this weekend, really.
Now, you've been away, you've been in the US, you've driven all kinds of cars over there, you've been back here, you've been doing loads of stuff, and I think that shows because you've jumped in the car and you've done pretty well in qualifying.
Yeah, no, I think it's helped me, driving all different types of cars. I mean, I've driven a similar car to this over in the States, but yeah, it's just good to jump back over here and yeah, see where we end up. And yeah, qualifying was good, so see what we can do in the races.
What's been your best memory of your time over in the States? I imagine the weather's a little bit better than here.
Yeah, I mean the weather's a bit nicer. Yeah, I mean we had some very strong results at the start of the season. 1-5 on the bounce. So yeah, I mean it's sort of been that really, and yeah, it's nice to come back over and see what we can do over here.
Are you doing just this round, or are you tempted to do Monza as well? Are you looking for maybe 2026 plans?
Yeah, I mean at the moment we're just here for this round, but obviously that can change. And yeah, I mean whatever happens next year, we'll sort of see what happens really.
Okay, and what does success look like? You've obviously qualified well. What are you hoping for the end of this weekend, and what are you going to look back on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously race 2 is going to be, a good starting position, starting third. So, I mean, wherever we end up in race 2, I'll be happy with. And, yeah, we'll see what happens.
And your dad's obviously still in the paddock across the way. Is he going to be giving you any advice this weekend, or are you strictly different championships, staying away from each other, and you'll catch up at the end of the weekend?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be over here giving me advice. And, yeah, it's nice to get some advice from him and see what we can do.
Excellent stuff. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Great to see you back.
Thank you.
Kabir, welcome to the championship. You're an experienced driver in single-seaters, but not in this championship, so welcome. But also, I can see you've got a very blue top on. You've got some support behind you as well. Just tell people about what you've done before and what you're doing.
Yeah, I've been racing in the Italian championship. It's my first race in a car with proper wings, I'd say, so it's very exciting. And as you can tell, very windy, very wet, so very new experience for me. But yeah, I've got the backing of Alpine, and they've been very supporting, and it's been nice. It's been really good to come here and experience something completely different than what I'm used to.
Amazing. And how are you finding it so far? Very different experience. Italy, sunny, warm, lots of long straights. Donington, technical, wet, windy. Must be a bit of a baptism of fire for you.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I've got more wet driving than this weekend on the whole year, to be honest, than Italian before. But no, it's been tricky. It's been a lot of learning, considering these are all new tracks for me. It's a new experience, but the team has been very helpful, and yeah, it's been. I think it's been a good change of pace.
I bet it is, and also I suppose the Alpine Academy, they want, of course, you to get good results, but part of the point of the academy is for you to grow as a driver and get some new experiences. Is that why you're in the championship this weekend? Why have you chosen GB3 at this stage of the year?
I think stepping up next year from F4 to have some experience in high downforce cars, especially in a really difficult situation, is just going to help me be adaptable to whatever I do race in next year. And the Alpine Academy did think it was a really good idea to step up, and yeah, I think we just made a decision collectively that it was a good challenge.
And it's quite convenient that your first weekend in the GB3 Championship, according to us Brits, is the same weekend we have the Singapore Grand Prix. I suppose you're going to be watching that back when you're not racing? Yeah,
I mean, if I was not here, I would be there, of course. But yeah, very different weather conditions, very, very different. And yeah, it's the worst weekend to miss, but to be honest, I'd rather be racing than watching other people race. So. Absolutely.
Kabir, welcome to the championship, and we'll see how you get on in the races this weekend.
Thank you very much.
There we go then, a couple of our new drivers this weekend. Look out for them as we get ready for the first race of the weekend. 3 races coming up, 1 today, 2 tomorrow, one of which is a reverse grid race. Now, the championship leader Alex Ninovic is on pole position for this first race. He'll start second for tomorrow's race. And Piers, he's buying himself some cash and an extra trophy this weekend.
Yeah, well, £300 for every pole position you get from John Cavill, who's the sponsor of the Jack Cavill Pole Position Cup. And the 8th pole of the year, 6th in a row for Alex Ninovic, means that he has sealed that, so he gets an extra £1,000. So he's got a nice little kitty to keep him going over the winter in terms of training and get going again next year, but he's going to be concentrating on converting that into a race win because no points for pole position.
I think you can agree that any money that comes your way as a racing driver, given how much these things cost to live out your dreams, is welcome. So congratulations to Alex Ninovic. As I say, he'll start on pole position for this upcoming race, and Piers caught up with him just after he qualified.
Let's ride on board championship leader Alex Ninovic of Rodin Motorsports. Took pole position here this weekend, and also the Jack Cavill Pole Position Cup. Down towards Redgate, brake very late into the corner, try and get to the curb, use the curb on the entry, and watch out for track limits on the exit. We're now going to be completely flat out through Hollywood on the right, and then the circuit drops away for the Craner curves. Whole point of Craner curves is to stay left, to open up the old hairpin. A tailwind here this weekend makes it very tricky. A couple of bites of the steering for Alex this time. Now we're past the lowest point of the circuit, heading uphill through Schwantz to set up the entry of McLean's. Another tricky corner, blind on entry, goes light in the middle, and then again watch out for track limits on exit. Lap times will be deleted in qualifying, potentially penalties in the race. Another blind entry for Coppice now. Early on the power, roll the speed all the way around the outside onto the exhibition straight. DRS will be open in the race if you're within a second of the car in front. Very tricky Fogarty S's. Get as close to the tyres on the left-hand side as you can, then use all the curb on the right-hand side. Minimum speed is crucial through there into the final sector. 2 more corners to go. The Melbourne hairpin now, braking downhill. We missed the first part of the apex. Bit of a wobble in the middle, and then nip the second apex, hard on power all the way out to the exit curve. 1 corner to go, Goddard's. Again, another blind entry. All the way to the right-hand side, turn in before you can see the apex. A little wobble as we go over the crest. Back to the apex and completely flat out for a lap of the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit in the new 2025 GB3 car. Alex, a familiar position, pole position once again for race 1 here at Donington. A tricky session with the weather conditions though.
Yeah, this morning was very challenging with the wind and the rain coming in later on. It was challenging session, but we managed to maximise it and get pole, so can't complain.
Very tricky conditions this weekend. It was dry on Thursday, wet on Friday, it's cold, very different to when we came here earlier in the year. How much of a different outlook and driving do you have to do to get the performance out of the car on a weekend like this?
Yeah, definitely. Getting on top of the car early and trying to maximise as much as you can is important, and then going out there and seeing what it feels like is another thing. The wind playing a big role in it, and adapting to it as fast as you can is the key.
And also putting yourself in a great position to potentially take the title around early, which hasn't been done in the GB3 era.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see how the weekend goes. Try and finish off strong.
Absolutely. Alex Ninovic, pole position for race 1 once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alex Ninovic there in good spirits, as you'd imagine. A little extra check in his back pocket. I think some of the kids racing this weekend have never seen a check before. It's kind of old technology, isn't it? But there we go. He will be absolutely wanting to win this race because he can win the championship this weekend. It would mean that I think he'd have to win a couple of races, and then we'll start to talk about what other drivers would need to do. But, I mean, with 6 races left to go this season, it is looking good for Alex Ninovic.
Absolutely, probably one of the most dominant performances we've seen actually arguably the most dominant performance we've seen from a driver over a season. Started off the season strong, it's just seemed to get better and better. I mean, just particularly that weekend at Brands Hatch last time out, he was just almost untouchable really, wasn't he?
And earlier on we were hearing, I can't remember if you were part of the conversation, that he's got the best average qualifying position, under 2, I think. So
1.9.
1.9, which is the best of the GB3 Championship era. So seriously impressive from Alex Ninovic. Some of the other drivers around him, though, they're going to want to stop him, and his teammate Jean-Marc Pradel has unfortunately put his foot in it slightly because he's been disqualified from qualifying, along with 3 other drivers, Abby Pulling, his teammate, as well as the 2 Racing Elite Motorsports drivers, for not being weighed after the qualifying session. Piers, just explain why drivers get weighed and everything.
Well, there's a minimum weight which is car and driver combined, and they have to get weighed very swiftly after qualifying, both the car and the driver, to make sure that you don't, go and chug 3 litres of water to make yourself back on weight when you're running underweight. And unfortunately, they missed that cut-off just. It's easily done when the driver's having to get warm. But also, Jean-Marc Pradel, yes, he did get disqualified, but he actually crashed in the first part of qualifying anyway. Didn't quite get back out for the second part either. The team were working hard, so he would have been down the back anyway. So not a good start to the weekend for Jean-Marc, who's been right up there with Alex Ninovic on occasions, but just hasn't quite had the consistency of his Australian teammate.
Yeah, of course, we have another Australian in the mix, Patrick Herzenreuter, who's not qualified where he would have wanted to. Lewis McGlade will talk us through all the qualifying very, very shortly. And it looks like the cars are all going out now, so we can take a look at Alex Ninovic leading them out, then the number 12 black and white Rodin car as we watch them come out here. Reza Seaworthen, great qualifying from him. He'll start 3rd in this race, on pole position tomorrow, so fantastic, his first pole position in GB3. Jack Sherwood we can just see going past with the flashes there, and looking out for some of these new drivers as we go. Here we've got Bart Harrison, the number 77, he's in the grey, black with pink, or maybe orange stripes there, which is the JHR Developments car, so look out for him. Abby Pulling, you won't be able to miss her in the Rodin car with the pink. She'll be coming very shortly. But as we see these cars go out, it's time for Piers to run off to the commentary box to join Lewis McGlade, and for me to say, for the first time this weekend in the GB3 Championship here at Donington Park, let's go racing.
Just 6 races left to go in the season as we get ourselves ready here at the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. Penultimate weekend of 2025. A weekend which could see Alex Ninovic crowned champion, provided he's giving himself some good racing and, of course, a good points haul. Heading into Monza, we can take a look around the circuit here. Of course, so many good overtaking opportunities. That run down into Redgate where the DRS will be open. The run into the Fogarty S where the DRS will be open once again. Of course, that run down the hill into the legendary Old Hairpin. The climb back up 35 metres as they go through McLean's into the highest point of the circuit at Coppice, and that run down the back end of the circuit at Starkeys and into that Fogarty S. DRS active around a very, very windy Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. As we look from where we are on the camera, the wind is going in a straight line from where we were. It's a headwind down into the first corner at Redgate, although it is kind of coming off of the front left now, so might be turning into a little bit of a crosswind as they work their way down the hill. The important bit of that is it'll be a tailwind when they get to the most complicated part of the circuit, the Old Hairpin. It does make a tricky circuit even more tough, but that's why we've got the fantastic GB3 grid ready to go with 6 races, like I've said, left to go in the championship. We have still a fairly long way before we'll be crowning our champion. But of course, Alex Ninovic, who's taken 6 victories this season, has a 71-point lead. If he ends the weekend with a 102 points lead or more, he will be crowned the 2025 champion. We can see them working their way down into the opening corner to begin the formation lap, ready for the first race of the weekend. And it is Ninovic on pole position again for the 8th time in 2025 and the 6th consecutive pole position for the Rodin Motorsports driver. Noah Lar for JHR Developments would also start alongside his first front row of the season, crazily enough. Reza Seaworthen will be starting from 3rd position, but of course, do remember he'll be starting from pole position in tomorrow's race. Patrick Herzenreuter, one of the championship antagonists will be starting from 4th position alongside Deegan Fairclough in 8th position, with Kai Darianani up there in 6th. A personal best from him, or joint personal best from him, obviously back there with the Zandvoort round. Jack Sherwood in 7th position with Enzo Tumvanichkul. That victory back in Brands Hatch will be starting from 8th position. Keanu Alazari and Bart Harrison on debut will be starting from 10th position for JHR Developments in the number 77 car. Behind that, we've got Liam McNeely also on debut. He's got a fantastic start in tomorrow's opening race. Lucas Lucia for Argenti with Prema. He's actually switched over to the Hill Speed team for this round. Kabir Anurag will be starting from 13th position with Rodrigo Gonzalez for VRD Racing, ahead of his brother Patricio Gonzalez, who'll be starting from 15th position. A new driver for the championship and a new team, Race Lab, joined the championship with Max Taylor behind the wheel. Will be starting from 16th position before we get a quartet of disqualifications from the qualifying session. Abby Pulling, Bianca Bustamante, both out of qualifying courtesy of disqualification. Same with Flynn Jacks and Gianmarco Bedell, who also had a bit of a crash in that qualifying session, also got the disqualification as well. We are in position and ready to go. Cannot believe that stat about Noah Lahr, by the way. His first front row start of the year. That is absolutely crazy. It's myself, McGlade, it's Piers Pryor alongside in the commentary booth, ready for the first race of the day and of this weekend.
Yeah, especially when you consider Noah Lyle had 2 second places to start the year. You know, both of those are off of the front row, so he might play a part in this race, trying to take the victory off Alex Ninovic. Although Ninovic has been pretty much there or thereabouts in all conditions in testing this weekend. Dry, wet, whatever they threw at him, he was up there in every session. Consistency has been his main strength this year, consistently fast as well, and this weekend so far looking no different and putting himself right in the pound seats to take that championship.
Well, they're in position and ready to go as Alex Ninovic targets a 7th victory and an excellent start to what could be a championship weekend for him. Noah Lyle searching for a first victory in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Reza Seaworthen as well on the row behind, searching as well for a superb result. But can they find it around this tricky circuit? The lights are on them for the first race this weekend. With 12 laps ahead, we are racing down into Redgate for the first time. There was a poor start from the likes of Deegan Fairclough, and there's also one of the XL cars stalling in the background there. It's Ninovic leading into the first corner. Reza Seaworthen going down the inside to the opening corner in the Argenti with Prema. He does take over second position from Noah Lahr, who's dropping back into the clutches of Patrick Huizenroder.
A dream start for Ninovic. He was fighting for second place, so Seaworthen took a brilliant move up the inside, but that's allowed Ninovic to get a 5-6 car length gap as that car at the back of the field. I think that is our newcomer to the grid. I think that's Kabir Anurag. Just didn't quite get away from the line as he wanted.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Anurag, but it is what it is. And again, just focus on getting those laps in. Here comes a look down the inside as Patrick Huizenroder is giving the big send and fires one straight through there on Noah Lyle. Making the progress as they go on the back stretch. Yeah,
Noah Lyle manages to get the cutback on that as well, so brilliant move from him as now Deegan Fairclough goes side to side, wheel to wheel into the fog of TSs. They can't make it too wide through there, can you? Oh. Yes, you can, and big slide from Huizenroder.
Big moment indeed. Huizenroder might lose out here as Kai Darianani is coming through in the charcoal grey car. More looks coming in as Jack Sherwood's trying to make a move as he works his way into the mix in the 78 XL car there that was on the inside, the white with the purple and the bright pink highlights. He's battling off with Enzo Tumvanichkul, of course, who's in that Red Bull sponsored car, but a chaotic opening lap here in the opening race of the weekend.
Still side by side. Sherwood and Lyle now go side by side at the last corner. No, it wasn't. It was Sherwood and Tumvanichkul. My mistake. Tumvanichkul in the Red Bull liveried. Sherwood managing to make that through, but now Tumvanichkul looking to fight back as we've got a battle between one of the VRDs and I think that's Lucas Flusha up the inside of turn 1, and right on the outside is that Lee McNeely.
I think it might have been. There was also in the mix, the one that was looking down the inside there was Max Taylor, so a great start to his race. Up to 12th position is Taylor, going up from 16th spot, so clearly very racy around this Donington Park circuit. They have a little search for some moves around here, but can't quite find anything as we begin the climb back up the hill. Keanu Alazari in the bright pink BWT, of course, Alpine back car, some side-by-side up ahead as Kai Darianani was trying to fight his way past the number 78 of Jack Sherwood, but the 88 of Darianani is now dropping backwards and passed by Keanu Alazari.
Oh, someone in the gravel, big off. That's Liam McNeely in the Fortec car there, so his return to this paddock in his first race in GB3, but he's raced in GB4 previously, not going to plan. I think that's probably going to be a safety car at the end of this lap. We race until the safety car boards.
Yeah, also, Liam McNeely does have a race victory around here. That certainly isn't coming in here, and I do agree. I believe that might well be a requirement for safety car. Here comes Kai Darianani, looking down the inside after a poor run. There is a safety car. It has been deployed. Safety cars just popped up in our live time, and you can see the boards being waved in the background. Safety car joining the circuit, meaning Alex Ninovic's 1.2 second lead is put back to basically zero.
Well, we've got our front two, the same that will be starting on the front row tomorrow in inverse order. Ninovic got away from pole position, was driving away at the front of the field. A good start from Seaworth and sees him in second place. Noah Lyle managed to stem the flow of positions and sees himself back into third place where he was at the start of that, or to the midway through that first lap. It was very racy, a lot of side-by-side action. We're late in the season now. The drivers know what the other drivers are like, where they can push, where they potentially can't. It's the replay that we're getting here, so we didn't see the start of it, but that was into the entry of Coppice. It sounded like there potentially was a bit of contact that caused that, unlike Liam McNeely to drop it on his own there. Hopefully we get another angle. Maybe we won't have that for now, but at the very least Liam is going to be physically okay. But yeah, very racy, lots of side-by-side action. All the drivers experienced with these cars, or most of the drivers experienced with these cars. We've raced at Donington, of course, before this year as well, so they know where they can push, potentially where they can't. We saw hard fighting into this corner, McLaden's. It was Darianani, I think, was trying to overtake Sherwood and ultimately ended up costing himself a couple of positions.
I've looked into it. I do actually believe the contact there for McNeely would actually come courtesy of the number 2 of Max Taylor. I think might have been the driver that made contact with a bit of a look into Coppice. Of course, I'm not race control, I don't have all the angles, but I do believe that was the car that was looking down the inside. Of course, that is something that will go under a post-race investigation, and we'll get an update in tomorrow's race.
Yeah, good to see Max Taylor joining the championship again, but also welcome Race Lab. First time in the championship, first time in the GB3 or 4 stables. They are experienced team in sports car and GT racing. One car outfit at the moment with Max Taylor, and hopefully we'll see them again because they can bring that success and experience they've had in sports cars over to single seaters. Max Taylor been quick so far this weekend at different sessions in practice. Didn't quite hook it up potentially as much as he would have liked in qualifying, but is definitely in the mix in this race, potentially getting involved with the 48 of Liam McNeely, whose car is being removed by the Zoom Boom. No, good to see Max Taylor back in the grid, and it's always good to see new groups and teams join the championship.
Now, it would be very easy for regular race fans or those that maybe don't have the knowledge there to go, well, it's just a car, isn't it? How hard can it be for an experienced team from outside of open wheel racing that are more experienced in like I say, sports cars and such, to jump into this and get up to speed? How hard is that from the team's perspective, less than even from the driver's perspective?
Well, I would liken it to, for example, let's say you're a tennis player, yeah, and then you go and play squash, for example. Right. You've got a racket in your right hand, it's a ball, same thing, right? No, very different kettle of fish. GT sports car racing to single seaters, the way that you have to set up the car, even the tools you have on the car available to you, the way you have to drive it is different. So it's a very similar on the outside vocation, but a very different way of executing racing. And the teams in the front of this grid, the front of all single-seater grids, very much in tune with the cars, how they need to be set up and the procedures that they'll go through to get the absolute most out of these cars, and vice versa. If you put one of these GB3 teams, top teams, in a GT grid, it would take them a while to get up to speed. So Race Lab, they're not immediately in the front with their one-car team at the moment with Max Taylor, but given the time and experience and honing their skills, I'm sure they could be right up there. And if they get the chance, then it would be good to see them on the grid next year.
Very much so. I'd be excited to see that as the Marshall team try and get Liam McNeely's car out of the way. Of course, in tomorrow morning's race, provided that there are no penalties and such which could affect the grid there, he is slated to start from third position. Epic qualifying, especially in that second session from Liam McNeely on a circuit which he has been victorious at in GB4. He's won twice in GB4, one of those coming around this circuit. In what was a quadruple header, it was the final race for a quadruple header and a reverse grid race. But he's proven that he's got a winning credential around here. Yeah, and he's been very successful out in the United States this year, racing in one of the USF categories. I think it was in 6th place he got the championship. That's he's been racing successfully anyway in that category, and we know how quick he was in GB4.
But it was a tricky qualifying session actually earlier. If anyone wasn't on site or wasn't able to catch the live timing, the two sessions run back to back with only a few minutes in between them. The first session, which sets the grid for this first race, and then dry conditions on slick tyres, or mostly dry conditions. The second session, literally as the session ended, the first session ended, it started raining, and the second session was in wet conditions, so the drivers and teams had to react quickly. Liam McNeely, despite his lack of experience this year in this car, clearly managed to find the grip, find the level quickly, and was right up there with our championship challengers. Will go from third to tomorrow, so as much as he'll be disappointed today, he'll be looking forward to tomorrow morning.
A slightly more lengthy safety car than maybe we were expecting after that. I think it's quite difficult to extract a vehicle from Coppice, so maybe slightly more of a delay than we were expecting. 16 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, 13 laps. Should be able to get the entirety of that running, but we might come in a lap short of the 18 at the top of your screen. Of course, we'll keep you up to date with that as soon as we get back to racing and know what the deal is. Did expect to be running in the low 1 minute 20s, I think, over the race run. So
pole position was 1:22, I think.
Yeah,
if I remember off the top of my head.
I think like mid to low 1 minute 20, depending on what the conditions are like. Obviously, I do actually think the conditions are slightly better now than they were in qualifying.
Oh yeah.
There's obviously no rain around, but the wind is still quite aggressive there going down into that opening corner. We're saying it's a headwind down to that opening corner. Does mean it's a headwind on this back stretch here, which does mean that DRS, when active, should be a very potent device indeed. It maybe explains why we're getting so much racing around here. This is a headwind in both those DRS zones.
Yeah, it's true. The wind makes a huge difference to the way that the cars feel when you're driving. If you have a headwind, tailwind, or sidewind, headwind generally gives you good rear grip. So you'll have understeer. Tailwind normally gives you oversteer, it makes a big difference, and that'll be helping with the spectacle that we're going to enjoy for the remainder of this race. Looking forward to seeing how this goes, because we're just under the end of a safety car. So Alex Ninovic takes control of the pace of the field and will choose when he drops the hammer and goes racing once again. It will be somewhere, I imagine, before we get to the last corner to try and catch out Reza Seaworthen and the rest of the field, to try and at least regain some of that 1.2 second gap they had at the start of the race, although he's gone to the exit of the hairpin and Reza has gone right with him.
Yeah, Seaworthen's trying to keep up with their race leader. Alex Ninovic looking for a second victory of the season. A couple of lockups coming down into Goddard's from the pack behind. But we are back to racing with Ninovic leading from Seaworthen, from Lyle, from Fairclough, Huizenrode, Sherwood, Tan Van Ichkel, Alazari, Flusha and Daria Nani, the top 10. Couple of looks coming in there as a filling of the mirrors from Patrick Huizenrode to try and find his way past Fairclough. And Fairclough might have been slow there off of Redgate as they go through Hollywood, the right-hander, and then drop down through the iconic and famous Craner curves over to the left-hander, back over to the left-hand side as they go through the old hairpin.
Yeah, classic corners, world famous, the Craner curves, completely flat out in these high downforce GB3 cars, but still thrilling, genuinely like a roller coaster through there. The car bottoms out hard just before you turn into the old hairpin, then through the technical middle sector here at Donington Park. McLean's this one, it goes off Canberra and over a crest at the apex, easily, or tries to drag you wide, and then the blind entry to Coppice here. You run the wall of death around the outside, especially hard when you're right up behind the car in front. As we see, defensive goes Lyle, as now Fairclough has gone from defence at the start of the lap to attack in this part of the lap towards the end. Looks like he's put Lyle offline in through the Fogarty S's, potentially an opportunity at a dive down the inside, but covered by Lyle.
Yeah, Fairclough had a fantastic run to a couple of podiums back in Brands Hatch and is trying to go for another one with a big move down the inside of Noah Lyle. The Rocket-sponsored Deegan Fairclough in that high-tech TGR team works well. A bit of wheel banging as well from those further back. Not sure who that was as we head back out onto the start-finish straight. There's Deegan Fairclough ahead in third position. Patrick Huizenrode is also trying to come through on Noah Lyle. But I think Lyle will pick up the slipstream from Fairclough and might be able to go back on the attack.
Oh, swipe across there as Fairclough tries to squeeze down, as Lyle tries to go around the outside and gets it done. Absolutely scandalous move around the outside from Noah Lyle.
That was unbelievable. Noah Lyle in the number 11 making the move around the outside of the number 7 there of Deegan Fairclough. Fantastic stuff. Enzo Tan Van Ichkel with a big squeeze coming through the corner there. That was on Jack Sherwood. He almost pushed him off at the old hairpin. Brutal racing we're getting here in GB3, but this is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, both Tan Van Ichkel and Sherwood went through the grass and the exit of the old hairpin. They both carried so much speed on. But this battle between Fairclough and Huizenrode still going on Fairclough got through. Lyle fought back at turn 1 excellently, looking down towards the Fogarty S's once again now. Hoytson-Roeder just tucking in the slipstream, using that DRS. As we've got another move, Tarvanichkul now under pressure from Abby Pulling, and goes around the outside of Fogarty S's. Can she get it stopped? Only just, but now Tarvanichkul looking for the cutback.
Great drive from Abby Pulling, working her way up the order, like you say, getting past Tarvanichkul. She's driven up from the rear end of the field, 3 wide behind as well. Jean-Marc Bradel trying to work his way up the order. Jack Sherwood getting dropped down. Max Taylor in the black and red car. It's Sherwood who's been off the road there, and so Taylor's got through in the number 2, but Jean-Marc Bradel in the yellow highlighted black and white, of course, Rodin car working his way up the order. The bright pink highlighted Rodin car though. Here's Tarvanichkul trying to go for the move in that Red Bull sponsor car on Abby Pulling and going for the up and under.
Well, it's a move that you often see, the fake to the outside and the cut to the inside at Redgate, but couldn't get it done from Tarvanichkul that time. Tarvanichkul trying to recover some of those places. Good recovery drive, actually, I must say, from Abby Pulling. Of course, from the back of the grid, well inside the top 10 now, 8th position that is, because she was one of those drivers that fell foul of the disqualification after qualifying. She'll be happy with this result if she can finish where she is, but looks like she's got the pace for more.
Indeed. Confirmed, by the way, from Race Control that it will be a time race. I believe we might have 9 laps left to go, so it could be a 16-lap race around here. Might be 17, depending on how many we actually do get in before that checkered flag. We'll keep an eye on that, but certainly we're going a lap shorter than the initially advertised race distance. Remember, around here in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, it's 18 laps or 25 minutes, whichever comes first.
Here we go, that wonderful move round the outside. Just rolled off the brakes to get ahead at the apex, kept his car there, and once he was ahead, he could control the exit and not allow Fairclough to fight back down towards the Krenner cars. Here was Tarvanichkul and Sherwood both running wide on the exit. Oh, airtime for Tarvanichkul. I think that was a little rude from Tarvanichkul there. Didn't give Sherwood any space. We'll see if anything comes of that after the race. This was then Hoytson-Roeder and Fairclough. Hoytson-Roeder looking at the outside of Coppice. You can't go around the outside there. It goes on right for too long.
Yeah, indeed. Fantastic scenes and some brilliant racing around here. You can see there with a few of the cars, DRS wide open on the start-finish straight. 2 DRS zones around this Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. The first of the 2, technically speaking, along the lap, is actually on the back straight out of Starkeys. Out on the Starkeys straight, obviously coming out of Coppice on that backstretch into the chicane on the back straight at the Fogarty S. And there's also one on the start-finish straight, which is the Wheatcroft straight. So 2 DRS zones around here as they're working around here. If you're within a second of the car ahead, going through the detection point, you get to open up the DRS, you get some more straight line speed and potential for overtakes.
We're checking back in with our leader, Alex Minovich. Was fastest in the dry qualifying session. Surprise, surprise, fastest so far on the circuit. Purple that last time by, nearly 8/10 of it quicker than anyone else on the circuit is the advantage he has at the moment. Very, very dominant in terms of pace he has been this year in a car that's identical to every other car on the grid, being very well set up by the Rodin Motorsports team, but being excellently driven, of course, by the Australian driver Alex Ninovich. He's in number 12, 18 years old. Is joined this championship as a rookie effectively in this championship and taken the championship by the horns and is not looking back. He wants to give himself the biggest margin possible. Lewis, remind us of the situation in terms of where he needs to be if he does want to take that championship before we head to Monza.
Well, it's more so he needs a 102-point championship lead heading into Monza. Now, obviously, that's got to be done at the end of this weekend because you can get effectively 102 points from one race weekend. Of course, that would require a tiebreaker, but he would win the tiebreaker on amount of race victories. That cannot change. Yes. Deegan Fairclough off. I'll come back to that in a second. But basically, he needs to have 102 points. We'll come back to that as the weekend rolls on. Fairclough off the road, and here comes Patrick Hoytson-Roeder as they rise their way up. Can he make a move, though?
Do you know what? I think that might have been a gust of wind on the tail of those cars down the old hairpin. As now Hoytson-Roeder looks up the inside, and now no space, only just enough space was being left by Hoytson-Roeder, which caused Fairclough to get out of the throttle. But it's a big tailwind into the old hairpin, which causes the cars to get unsettled sometimes. As now teammates at High-Tech battling side by side as the Fogarty S's, pink car of Alazari, grey car of Fairclough. Fairclough has a wobble, and now that's going to allow Lucas Flusha in the number 3 to have a look as well. So Fairclough once was fighting for the higher end of the top 10, now falling back down the order. He's going to be in 7th place.
Yeah, great stuff there for Flucia. Can confirm as well, by the way. I think the wind has changed direction ever so slightly. I've got a very handy flag just out of the commentary box, and it's changed. It was changed about 90 degrees from the start of the race to where we are now. It's flip-flopped between coming in from that. And what it is basically, it's either a tailwind coming down into the old hairpin, or it's a crosswind. Neither are particularly easy to deal with, and there's no reference down there as to what it actually is before you turn in. Flucia around the outside though here of Deegan Fairclough in that bright red and black Hillspeed car. Flucia with the move, showing the Hillspeed team what he's all about in this championship, having moved over from the Argenti with Prema squad.
Yeah, well, anything you can do, Noah Lyle, I can do better, says Lucas Flucia. Aggressive dive to the apex from the outside as someone else got. Oh, that's Keanu Alazari. Alazari drops it and he's in the barriers. That was again, I think, on the exit of the old hairpin. Got on the grass, then losing the rear of the car, just caught the back of it. And Alazari into the wall, not particularly hard, looks like he's moving around, so should be okay, we hope. We'll see him get out in kind of moments time. Of course, that's the main thing. Yeah, looks like he's getting out of the car okay there, but that's the end of his race, and will almost certainly be another safety car.
Yeah, indeed. Did get a couple of those shots of those flags there that you can see around the circuit. This thing, as a driver, when it's a really windy day like this, as we await safety car has been deployed. On a really windy day like this, now I said about this morning, we've been to Donington Park quite a few. In fact, Donington Park is by far the circuit I've visited the most in the UK. I've never seen it as windy as it's been today. It's been very, very blustery. There's Keanu Alazari out of the car. Yeah. Bit of a shame for that retirement, but from 5th position. But unfortunately, that's just sometimes how it goes in your rookie season in GB3. But with that, how much do you need to pay attention to the wind? I'll let you look at this first.
Yeah, so he's just run a bit wide to the middle and then got on the grass. The grass still wet from the rain we had this morning, and then on the slick tyres and the car bottoming out, no control, taking the bollard with him on the way through. So unfortunate for Keanu Alazari there, unfortunately. I think probably either just carrying a bit too much speed through the apex, or in my eyes more likely just a slight difference in the wind compared to the lap or so previous. Bit of extra tailwind, you roll off the brakes and you carry a couple of kilometres an hour more than the previous lap due to that wind, and that's enough to drag you wide, car bottoms out onto the grass, and then you're out of control. So unfortunate for Alazari. If anyone was watching the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, you heard the drivers complaining of the wind there. We've got similar levels of wind here at Donington Park right now, and it really unsettles the cars. And so much so, an anecdote from my racing days, I remember in 2020 when I was in this championship at Snetterton, there was a headwind going towards turn 1 at Riches, which meant the corner was almost flat out at turn 1, 135 mile an hour apex speed. The next day we woke up and it was a tailwind. And it went from almost flat out to a brake and a down change. That's how much difference, 20 kilometres an hour sort of difference in entry speed due to the wind. And we've got a similar level of wind here today or this weekend at Donington Park. So that's the amount of difference the drivers will have to deal with, and they have to calibrate that as they're going around on circuit, minute to minute, lap to lap, session to session. Now we do have ship to shore, so radios to and from the drivers and the teams will be keeping the drivers updated on wind speed and general direction, but there's only so much you can give information over the radio. The rest of it you have to feel yourself. You have to go into a corner and make adjustments on the fly, judge how much speed it is, how the attitude of the car is changing on the way into the corner as you roll off the brakes, and those are the finer details that you need to get used to if you want to continue to perform lap on lap, and also up the career ladder all the way to Formula 1. But it's not easy. We saw drivers getting caught out by it in Baku in Formula 1, the highest level of the sport.
It's like I say, it's incredibly difficult, especially when you don't have much reference. Now, reference can come from a whole lot of things. Can come from anything as distant as trees, although less likely on that one, but more so flags. Yeah, you can't really use trees because when you're moving, you can't sort of judge the movement of the tree, but flags and windsocks are definitely something that you'll use. I found it interesting, actually. Snetterton, there's a windsock at the exit of turn 3. And also, if anyone has seen the interview with George Russell recently, when I think it was in the lead up to the Silverstone British Grand Prix, they asked him to visualise a lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And in that visualisation, he was like, roll off the brakes through Chapel and into Church, onto the power, down the Hanger Straight, look left at the windsock. That's the level of detail that the drivers are going through. They're using these references as they go around the circuits, or at least the top drivers are, to give them just any information so they can make a better decision about when they need to brake for the next corner, how hard they need to brake. They can predict the attitude of the car. I mentioned it earlier.
tailwind in these cars going into a corner, oversteer. Headwind, generally understeer. If the wind's on your inside, it's oversteer. If the wind's from the outside, it's understeer. And then a combination of everything in between. And that, you almost calibrate that muscle in your mind of where the wind is and how that affects the car and how then you can exploit that wind. I think it was a few years ago, maybe in COVID, where Lando Norris got pole position. I think it was at Le Castellet in France, and he got almost all of that 2/10 pole advantage at the last corner because it was a very strong headwind on the exit. And he went in, he said in an interview afterwards, I just tried to get the car turned as quickly as possible so that I was in the headwind and it meant I could get on the power earlier. And that's a great example of how the drivers have to exploit the conditions they have available to them.
I believe we'll be heading on to the final lap of the race, as referenced, by the way. 2 minutes and 16 seconds left to go, and the safety car lights remain on, so we'll be ending this race under safety car. Just a quick note on that. There is an incident at turn 4, which is under investigation. That is obviously going through the old hairpin. The number 78, which does indeed belong to Jack Sherwood, who was pushed off by Enzo Tarvanichkel. So those two will be under investigation post-race. Also, the other thing that's under investigation is the issue for Liam McNeely, which again I do believe it was Max Taylor involved, but obviously the best place to find out what happens with all of those post-race investigations as such is to head to gb-3.net, and you can find all of the race results on there, or you can follow us on social media and find it all on that. It's much easier for me. I'm not a smart man. I don't know how websites work.
It's all good. Yeah, all the updates from after the race and also stories and anything else that comes out of the woodwork posted by Richard Randall, the series PR officer, I think is his title. He keeps everyone updated and also does a great job of keeping everyone who isn't able to be at the circuit watch the live stream up to date with all the information. It's where we get our information from a lot of the time as well. Thank you to all the work he does, and hopefully we'll have not too many changes going into tomorrow morning's race, because sometimes the changes can be post-race penalties for this race or potentially even grid penalties carried over.
Indeed, but what a perfect start it will be for the weekend for this driver here, Alex Ninovic. It will end up turning into a 7th victory of the season. Now, I've gone back through the history books here to look for the most victories from a given season. 2024, it was Louis Sharp who took 5 victories that season. Callum Voisin, he took only 2 victories on the way to his title. The most victories in that season was Alex Dunn in 2023. 5 victories for Luke Browning back in 2022. Tom Levin had 4 victories that season as well. 7 victories. This is almost like uncharted territories when it comes to level of dominance, and that's why for the first time in the GB3 Championship it does look as though a champion might be crowned before the final weekend.
Or at least could be, should we say. It looks like we've only got 5 seconds left, so even though the safety car is coming in, this is going to be the end of the race. And seeing as the drivers cannot overtake before the start or the finish line anyway, there should be no changes of position anyway. So this is effectively a procession to the end. Yeah, absolutely right, Lewis. Ninovic has been the driver to beat this year. He's not made a huge number of mistakes. A couple of retirements along the way, but normally in race 3s when there's a bit more chaotic. But every time he's had an opportunity to qualify, he's qualified well. Every time he's had an opportunity at a front result, he's done exactly that. He's probably going to practice his safety car restart, considering his first one wasn't the most effective. Because you never know, he may need it tomorrow, although the conditions may be a little different.
I think he'll almost certainly need to get his eye in perfectly for it. But either way, through the final corner, a brilliant drive for Alex Ninovic. He's going to come through the final turn to win the opening race here at Donington Park. Superb drive from Ninovic, his 7th of the season. Seaworthen and Lyle will join on the podium as well.
Yeah, great results for the 2 drivers, radiant drivers, coming from the back of the field. Quilling and Pradell, 7th and 8th. Very impressive.
Yeah, brilliant drive as well. Considering the race was cut short effectively by 2 safety cars as well. That has been a very impressive drive from the rear of the field. Unfortunately for them, they will have to do it in the next race and the one after as well. Disqualification for qualifying means they're not a part of the reverse grid, which is of course for the top 12 from the combined times in qualifying. So they will have to start from the rear in all 3 races this weekend. But they've proven they can do it once, so why not 2 more times?
Grand slam for Alex Ninovic. Pole fastest lap race win. His fastest lap, the only driver in the 1:23s, and it was a 1:23.6. So that shows the level of speed he had over the rest of the field. Reza Seaworthen, great second place, another podium. He's having a really strong second half of the year, and we'll see him go from pole position tomorrow. And Noah Lyle, back on the podium. He's had a bit of a podium, well, actually it's a bit of a podium drought. Got a podium in Silverstone in the reverse grid race, but in the first or second race, he hasn't had one since the opening event at Silverstone. He earned that one with that move around the outside of Deegan Fairclough, didn't he? That was one of the moves of the season, then almost eclipsed by Lucas Flusha just a couple of laps later.
It was a really brilliant move. So brave to have tried to pull that one off, but still, it was well judged. And I mean, look, sometimes if you're going to go and steal those positions away, you need to be brave in doing it, and that certainly was something that Lyle wasn't particularly afraid of. As we'll see Keanu Al-Azari, of course, disappointment for him with that retirement from the race, from 5th position in the race as well. So, unfortunately, a disappointing afternoon for Keanu Al-Azari. For the championship, though, obviously we will update you with championship standings once we've gone through the podium and the highlights as well. But at the moment, it is an 85-point lead for Patrick Huizenrode. He is on his way. And again, if he ends the round, ends this weekend with a 102-point championship lead, he will be crowned champion. He's got to have 2 perfect races, though, and as much as he might pull to even more of that 102-point championship lead in the next race, starting from pole position once again, that reverse grid race can really throw some things up in the air. He was looking like he was going to be out of position to score any major points compared to his championship rivals back in the 3rd race at Brands Hatch, but then things kicked off. Patrick Huizenrode retired from the race, and everything swung back in his favour. We'll have to wait and see what happens around here. Noah Lyle then with the podium there, as Piers was saying, has had a few podiums this season. The opening 2 podiums that he had this championship campaign were both at Silverstone in the opening weekend of the season. Had to wait a long time for another podium, though. That was until the 3rd race at the 2nd time we visited Silverstone. So this is the first time that he's been on the podium this season, and it's not been around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. He is joined by someone on the podium who we've seen before on there in Reza Seaworthen, of course, who I think this might be Reza's first podium in a non-reverse grid race. So that's always a very positive moment for Reza, who's been building on a pretty strong campaign. And not only that, gets to start from pole position in tomorrow morning's race. But of course, for Alex Ninovic there in the middle of your screen, a superb drive to a 7th victory. Looking at all of the other drivers when it comes to their victories, Freddie Slater's got 3. We've got Jean-Marc Abdel who's got 2. Everyone else who has a victory has just 1. He has taken a big haul of those victories, winning at least 1 race on every weekend from Zandvoort onwards. Obviously, some chats happening around Noah Lyle, obviously passing on some information either to family members, to team, etc. We'll head down, though, to Jon Jackson to catch up with our top 3 after race 1 here at Donington Park.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lewis. I'm going to say, Alex, can you just move back 1 step for me? Perfect, then I can get in the sun as well. 7 wins this season. I mean, you're on a roll, and that championship is looking ever closer.
Yeah, definitely super happy with the result today. I couldn't have asked for more, really. The car felt amazing from the get-go, and then from there we just kept consistent and grew the gap. So, yeah, perfect day, really.
Wasn't too much racing in that first race, but I guess when you're in the position that you're in, you're not really that bothered.
Yeah, well, we got a good start, and from there the pace was so strong that, Reza couldn't really keep up. So from there it was just a race of my own and just trying to manage everything. So, yeah, really happy.
Yeah, for sure. Reza's on pole position tomorrow. What do you reckon you can do in that second race?
Yeah, hopefully it's dry. Get a good start, hopefully get around him by turn 1 and do the same sort of thing, but yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Do you think you're stronger in the dry as a team this weekend?
I would say that I'm probably a little bit stronger than I am in the wet, but yeah, we're pretty fast in both conditions, but probably the dry suits a little bit better.
Excellent stuff. Well, look, you've got time to rest up and look at the data, and we'll see you tomorrow for the second race of the weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There we go, Alex Ninovic with Rodin Motorsport. Let's make our way around and speak to Reza Seaworthen. Hey Reza, a podium for you. How are you feeling after that one?
Very happy. Yeah, turn around on weekends. Struggled a bit in the testing, made some mistakes, had a few crashes, but brought it all together today.
Is it one of those things where you get in the car first thing in the morning on a Saturday, you're never quite sure how it's going to go, and obviously when it goes as well as it's gone today, you're not looking back?
Yeah, clear head at the beginning of the day and built momentum from there. Stayed positive, stayed happy, and the results are shown.
Excellent stuff. Well, look, tomorrow is a big day because you start on pole position. What's your plan, having raced already around Donington this weekend? I know it might be slightly different conditions. What is that plan going off the line?
Same start as we did there, mid-up position, so same again, good start and drive away. So the aero wash is quite bad here, especially with all the wind as well, so just capitalise on everyone else and drive away.
You obviously saw a couple of safety cars in that race there. You know, you could create a gap tomorrow and then find that gap's come down a little bit because of a safety car. Is that something you plan for?
Yeah, definitely. I've done lots of sim prep with Ricky, my coach, practicing for those events.
Excellent stuff. Well, Reza, congratulations on your podium. We'll let you get your trophy.
Thank you very much.
Here we go, Reza Seaworth. Let's go and find Noah Lyle, who finished third in that race, talking through the fence. It's always a bit of a strange situation when you talk through the fence here at Donington Park. Noah, congratulations on the podium. How was that race for you?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. Thankfully, we've got a really quick car this weekend, so I was able to kind of make up for the bad start. But yeah, happy to finish on the podium.
How difficult did these windy and slightly wet underfoot conditions make it for you?
Yeah, it's super difficult in these cars because they're obviously a lot more aerodominant than the F4 ones. So yeah, they're super affected by the wind, and yeah, every lap feels a little bit different, and it's super different to how it was on Thursday. So yeah, something to keep in mind.
Any tricky moments out there for you with the weather, or did you hold it all together?
Definitely a couple of little mistakes in there. Hopefully not on TV, but yeah, it was all right, to be fair.
Well, I didn't see them, so I think you got away with it. Congratulations.
All right, sweet. Thanks.
There we go, Noah Lyle coming third. So let's see the podium with Lewis McGlade, and then we'll go and chat to some other drivers. Actually, we're going to have the highlights first, so let's watch that race back and maybe see if we can see some of those slightly hairier moments for Noah Lyle.
Highlights from round 19 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, led from pole position by Alex Ninovic. An unfortunate staller in the background, though, of Anurag on debut, not quite getting underway. He would be able, though, to continue on in the race once that car was started. It was an excellent overtake for second position for Reza Seaworth, and also the overtakes behind. Noah Lyle getting passed, though, by the number 5 of Patrick Huizenrode, going for the up and under and dragging the side-by-side all the way down into the Fogarty S. It would cause Huizenrode to have a slightly slow exit and allow Kai Darianani into the mix. Also with Keanu Alazari, an unfortunate moment for Liam McNeely that saw him pushed off and into the gravel trap, which would require a safety car. However, Noah Lyle, straight before that, was making this unbelievable move around the outside of Deegan Fairclough to take over third position, and also a couple of bits of side-by-side down the hill. Jack Sherwood pushed off by Enzo Tarnvanitschkel as they'd work their way down the hill through the old hairpin, and a couple of more moments as well for the likes of Deegan Fairclough and Patrick Huizenrode. It was seeming, though, as the old hairpin was the one that was causing the major problems, but up at the top of the circuit it was very raceable. Patrick Huizenrode down the inside to take over the position of fourth away from Deegan Fairclough. Keanu Alazari also into the mix, straight around the outside of his high-tech TGR teammate. Unfortunately, though, he would have this moment late on in the race over the exit of the old hairpin and into the barrier. It would cause the end of the race, allowing Alex Ninovic to take his 7th victory of the season. A brilliant drive from Alex Ninovic. We'll take a look at the provisional race results. It's Ninovic, it's Seaworth, then of course it's Lyle. Patrick Huizenrode then in 4th position with Flusha, Fairclough, Pulling, Pradell, Tarnvanitschkel and Taylor into the top 10 on debut. Of course, I think he might be under investigation for the incident between himself and McNeely. Sherwood in 11th position with Patricio Gonzalez in 12th. Bart Harrison on debut in 13th position with Flynn Jacks in 14th. Kai Darianani in 15th with Rodrigo Gonzalez. Anurag would see the checkered flag in his first race as well, despite the stall on the grid in 17th. Bianca Bustamante one position behind in 18th. Of course, the two retirements from the race would be Keanu Alazari late on and Liam McNeely into the gravel trap. We do have the championship standings as well that we can have a look at, which does show some very interesting reading. Of course, Alex Ninovic, 397 points. He's 85 points clear then of Patrick Huizenrode. And remember, he needs to be 102 points clear by the end of the weekend if he is to be the crown to the champion. Gianmarco Pradell already in a little bit of danger zone then, 108 points off of the championship lead. Deegan Fairclough on 129 points off of that championship on 268. But of course, there is that tight battle around the likes of Deegan Fairclough. 268 for Fairclough, 259 for Seaworthen, who obviously is starting from pole position in tomorrow's opening race. Noah Lyle with that podium as well, dragging him into contention in that battle for 4th position. Will McIntyre, unfortunately, not joining us for the rest of the season. Obviously, we've spoken about that a little bit more, and probably talk about that a little bit later on in the weekend as well. Obviously, we wish you well, Will. Keanu Alazari in 8th position, Freddie Slater, who's not with us as well this weekend, and Kai Darianani in 10th. A lot of talking points on there, Alex Ninovich being really the main one there. Having a look at some of the stats, those 397 points, they've come courtesy of the 7 victories that we've said about. Over 19 races, that means he's been victorious 36.8% of the time, which is absolutely wild. A percentage stat that we've not seen in GB3's history before from any other driver, so shows the strength of field, or strength of rather consistency that Ninovich has shown. Well, that's the standings at the present moment. Of course, things could be changed post-race. We'll have to wait and see. We'll head down, though, back to Jon Jackson.
Pretty much, Lewis McGlade, beautifully discussed there. We're not where we normally are because the podium cannot take place where it normally takes place because of high winds. So we are standing next to an awning, which looks like it's about to take off, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway, there's a crowd behind, as you can see there. Everyone waiting to see the drivers get their trophies. And at the moment, there are many frantic phone calls going backwards and forwards to find out where we're doing this podium. But I think it's fine. It's good. It was a good race. Shame about the safety cars, though, Piers. I mean, it happens when we have these conditions.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more unpredictable with the conditions, but we did have a very good race, lots of overtaking. I think the headwind down towards turn 1 and fog as has actually made the DRS even more it apparently made it even more powerful, the DRS, than it would have otherwise been, which gave us some great racing and a couple of wonderful outside moves, one from Noah Lyle and one from Lucas Flusha, and hoping to grab a word with some of the drivers that made their way through the field in a moment as well.
Yeah, disappointing for Kabir Anurag, who we saw just walking through there, not starting the race terribly well on the grid. It's a lot to get used to, isn't it, when you jump up into these cars?
Yeah, I mean, the race starts are particularly difficult. It's not like pulling away from the lights in your people carrier at home. The clutches are a lot more difficult. And
people carrier?
Yeah, well, a lot of people have people carriers, don't they? Oh, I suppose it's SUVs these days, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, it's difficult to get your head around it, and finding that perfect biting point and a launch start is, and a perfect launch is very fine. The margins are fine.
Yes, of course. I don't have a people carrier, just so you know. Lots of people congregated here waiting for these trophies. So these trophies will be coming soon. And I know that Jill Biffer, who's part of the... she's with John Cavell, who we heard about earlier. John Cavell presented the Jack Cavell Pole Position Cup and also the George Russell Pole Position Cup as well, as part of the GB4, GB3 Championship kind of double header. I think Jill will be presenting the Teams Championship to Rodin Motorsport as well. And I don't know where that's happening. It'll be coming. Oh, I can see people unravelling the tech centre here, and it looks like we're probably going to get a podium sooner rather than later, but I can't put a time frame on it. 2 minutes, right. We tried to bring you some of the kind words that the drivers had passed on to Will McIntyre, who's not racing this weekend or for the rest of the season as he battles illness, and we couldn't bring it to you earlier, but now we can.
Wish you all the best, Will. Hope to see you on the track soon. We're all behind you, so keep pushing on.
Hey, Will. I know I don't know you too well, but obviously heard the news, and just hope you're gonna recover as quick as possible, and get well soon, really.
G'day, Will. Wishing you all the best.
Everyone at Excel is supporting you.
Hi, Will. Alex here from Donington. Hope you're feeling well, and what can I say? I sort of, hard to say in words what you feel, but I appreciate the message you sent me a couple nights ago, saying that you're probably happier that you're not here racing against me because I'm so fast, but it'd be good to catch up one of these days, thanks.
Wishing you all the best, Will. The whole team here misses you.
Hey Will, coming to you from Donington. Just wanted to wish you your very best in your battle. We'll be racing for you this weekend. I mean, quali for me didn't go the best, but hopefully be able to make some big moves, and they'll all be for you. So wish you all the best, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Hey Will, I think I've already told you everything I need to say. Obviously it's a bit dull not having you here at the paddock. It's a little bit quiet. Your presence is definitely heard, that's for sure. And we're all out here racing for you and we're trying to do you well. And I hope you focus on this recovery, this big journey you have ahead of you, and we're all here behind you. And miss you.
Hi everyone, I've come here on Saturday to watch race 1 here. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody in the GB3 paddock for all the support you've given me. No, it's been absolutely awesome. And yeah, let's hope race 1's interesting. Come on guys.
Lovely to see the support around the paddock for Will McIntyre and his journey. Either way, we'll see the drivers onto the podium, so to speak. Of course, it'll be first up for Noah Lyle, third position. Second place will be Reza Seaworthen, of course, once again on the podium for the 4th time this season. Somebody seems to can't get off the top step of the podium. It's Alex Ninovich for the 7th time in 2025 onto the top step of the podium, scoring yet more points in an incredible drive. Of course, not too sure we'll get too much champagne sprayed around in the tech centre. I don't think they'll be particularly pleased with that. But again, the very high winds around the circuit meaning the podium moved into that tech centre. And for Ninovich, again, it's probably not the top step he's used to, but it is a top step that he's still feeling very comfortable at in this championship. Of course, all the drivers getting their photographs with their given trophies, and we'll be looking to do very much the same thing again tomorrow from some solid qualifying positions. Of course, Reza Seaworthen rather starting from that pole position tomorrow. We will also be having, as mentioned, Jill Biffa will be handing out, we believe, the Teams Championship trophy, which of course goes the way of Roden, who have been absolutely incredible this season when it comes to their consistency and domination across their 3 drivers, of course, Alex Ninovich, Jean-Marc Padel and Abby Pulling. So more things to be handed out there. And of course, plenty of photographs to be taken. This will be for the pole position cup, I do also believe, because Alex Ninovich, by a comfortable margin, has already taken the most pole positions of the season. So a superb drive from him. That was handed out a little bit earlier on, but of course, big trophy there for the Roden team. I say incredible scenes to see Ninovich once again on top, and again the Roden team to have won the Teams Championship once more. Does seem as though Roden could well be the team to beat in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. More photographs required here. Again, more silverware for Ninovich to receive. Great to see, and again, I'm sure it's not going to be the last bit of silverware that Ninovich gets his hands on in the final 5 races of the 2025 season. I'm sure all the other drivers, though, will be looking to steal away as much as they possibly can before the end of the season, and at least try and get this championship to roll on until we get to the Royal Villa of Monza Park in a couple of weeks' time at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. But for here at Donington Park, another victory for Ninovich. Can he take more victories, though? I mean, 7's a bit crazy. Could he do 8? There's Jon Jackson, though. Let's jump down to him.
There's Lewis McGlade, thank you. That's the Raymond Mays Challenge Trophy presented as part of the local Donington Track Association. So there we go. So he's also got that. So plenty of trophies to take away. What's that one there?
DPRAC winner.
Okay, so it's part of what I just explained. There you go. I mean, we're just saying there we were getting trophies thrown right, left, and centre, and you've got all of them. Congratulations. Now that's sunk in a little bit. Are you starting to think maybe championships winnable this weekend? We know it's possible.
Yeah, definitely. After that performance in race 1, we showed that the car and myself were capable of pulling a gap which was quite big. So yeah, I think tomorrow, if the weather's fine and we get a good start, I think we should be in a good position to hopefully get another win.
Okay, perfect stuff. We will leave you there because we can't keep talking to you. We're going to find some of the other drivers. Congratulations again, Alex Nilovic. We're going to get out of here pretty quickly because bits of this tarpaulin are a little bit affected by the wind. But Piers Pryor's with me here.
Hello.
You stayed safe there, I hope, Piers?
Just about, yes.
Yeah?
Let's grab
Who have you got for me?
Let's grab Lucas Flusher. He's got a lot of fans at the
way.
moment after that
You
excellent
follow
race. We're going to
Piers.
grab Lucas, who's currently being swarmed by a lot of drivers. It's a lot of people. Lucas, come this side for me. We wanted to grab you after that race. Didn't quite get a podium, but from 12th place on the grid up to 5th. And with one of the moves we've seen, best moves we've seen all season, that must be a pretty good race for you.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, I guess. Starting from the back, obviously not the quality we wanted, but did all I could. Just made each move I could take, just took it and move forward, always head forward. And yeah, it wasn't too bad of a move. Sorry. I mean, the inside was defended, it was blocked, so I was like, might as well try the outside and just fully sent it there. The brakes feel amazing, so really confident on these brakes, so just decided to go around the outside if the inside is blocked.
It seemed like the DRS was extra strong today with the headwind down to all the Fogarty S's and Redgate as well.
Yeah, it was very, also slipstream, plus the combination of slipstream and DRS was very effective today.
And can you replicate that again tomorrow? Who knows what the weather's going to do?
Yeah, I mean, we start pole in race 3, which, I mean, obviously we don't want pole race 3, we want pole in the first 2, but we take what we have, and I think we can definitely make a good race 3 and also race 2. Whatever the weather is, I think we have pace in both wet and dry, so just looking forward to get back in the car now.
I feel like you're energized this weekend.
Yeah, very energized. I'm feeling very confident after that and after practice, so the team's very helpful, and yeah, thanks to them the car has been amazing all these days, so just looking forward to get back in now.
Lucas, we'll see how you get on tomorrow. Thanks very much. Go and see your fans again. I've dragged you away. There you go. And Gianmarco Pradella, another one of our drivers that carved his way through the field. Not the qualifying you wanted. Unfortunately, I don't know. I didn't see what happened, but your car was in the barrier at the start of the first session, didn't get out in the second session. But up from the back of the grid inside the top 10, you must be at least somewhat satisfied with that.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying, I don't know where to start there. It just really wasn't good. I saw the raindrops coming down and I thought, all right, this is my opportunity. Pushed a little bit hard in the chicane, clipped the tyre barrier on the left and just went straight into the wall. So, you know, if I were to pick a place to make a mistake in the weekend, that would probably be the place that I would pick the least. Yeah. But, you know, I came in, thought, wasn't dwelling on it, and I just moved our focus onto race 1. And race 1, yeah, really, really good. I mean, the start could have been maybe a little bit better. The stall car put me off a little bit, so I just had to back out of it. But apart from that, just took my opportunities when they arose, and yeah, pretty happy with that result.
Do you know what, you didn't see me actually, but after your issue in qualifying, in the first part of qualifying was finishing, you were working hard with the team. You were looking to try and get the car out for the second part of qualifying. The team were working hard. You were there with the broom sweeping up the gravel. I could really see the team camaraderie there. Unfortunately, didn't get out for the second part of qualifying, but it looks like it's a really strong unit, which is obviously part of the reason why you've become team champions.
Yeah. I mean, I got a massive thank you to Rotor Motorsport. I mean, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal this year, and yeah, it just shows like that camaraderie. I got back to the tent after being at the medical centre, and they were all working, like scrambling on the car, and I was thinking, okay, you know, what, are we not going to go out for race 1? Well, I asked my engineer, are we not going out for race 1? He said, no, we're trying to go for quali 2. And I'm like, wow, okay. So big surprise. I asked if I could do anything, and he just said, sweep up the gravel. So, yeah, did what I could. Unfortunely, we weren't able to get back out. But
it was the thought that they were actually genuinely pushing to try and get you out. It really impressed me.
Yeah, it impressed me. It impressed me too, and yeah, really, really happy to be working with these guys.
And you've done a good job. Let's just touch on that. A few good moves in that race?
Yeah. I mean, I think they were good. It was more just taking my opportunities when they came, and yeah, did what I could.
Absolutely. Gianmarco Pradella, difficult qualifying. We'll move you out of the way so you don't get run over. We'll see you go from the back of the grid again tomorrow. Good luck in that. I'll let you go and cool off and have a good evening as I'll bring Jon Jackson back in once again. Jon, chaotic first race of the weekend.
The awning is fine. The structural rigidity of the awning is fine. It's been confirmed. Thank you very much. Excellent racing. A little bit of chaos towards the end here, but conditions are better tomorrow. I think they are.
I don't know. It's going to be windy still.
Okay, well, look, 2 more races to come in the GB3 Championship. We're looking forward to those. looking great for Road and looking great for Alex Ninovic. In GB4, we have 4 races this weekend because we have the last race that couldn't happen at Brands Hatch because of the timing restraints that happened. So we have 4 races coming up in GB4. One is coming up later today. That's around about 5:30, so an hour and a half time, 90 minutes time or so. You could watch a game of football in between maybe if you wanted to, and then come back tomorrow. 5 races, 3 in GB3, 2 in GB3, 3 in GB4. It's
Correct.
the biggest ever day, I think, in the GB3 and GB4 Championship double header calendar and the Donington decider, although we're not deciding things at Donington in GB3. It's very confusing, but either way, come back in 90 minutes and we'll see some GB4 action.